Hi, I'm going to show you how to code your own pixel art so that when people answer your questions, the picture will magically appear. We're going to do this gingerbread person. You can get it by clicking on the link in the description, or you can use your own pixel art and follow along with me. First, we want to make sure that we have our artwork out here the way that we want it. The next step is to type out the questions and the answers. You do that by clicking on the box and typing. Here are a couple that I typed out, and you do want to make sure that the questions have one set answer and aren't open to interpretation. So go ahead and pause the video, write out all of your questions and your answers, and there is one hidden right here. This is the question box, and that is the answer box. Now that we have our questions and our answers filled out, we are ready to code. We are going to code the answer boxes. You don't need the question boxes anymore. When we code this box, we need to tell the computer three things. One, we need to tell it what color we want it to turn, and we will be using the colors in our gingerbread person. Two, we need to tell the computer what box we're talking about. And then three, we need to tell the computer what does someone need to type into that box. In this case, it's 9 for me. When I say that we have to tell the computer what box we're talking about, every single box in a spreadsheet has a name, and we're going to tell the computer the name of the box that we're using for each step. When you name a box, you call it by the column and the row. This box is called B4 because it's in column B and it's in row 4. And since this is a big box, I know that it's technically 4, 5, 6, and 7, but when you're naming it, you use the first number. So this box is called B8. Think about what this box would be called. B12. When we write the code, we're really just telling the computer the name of the box and what we want written into the box. Here's the code. Down here, I suggest writing it down. Equals $column, $row equals answer. For example, for this first one, it would be B4 for that column and row, and then 9 for the answer. So I would type equals $B, $4 equals 9, and you will use whatever your answer was. So now I'm going to open up the conditional formatting and get started. To do that, we go up to Format here, and if you don't have this menu, click on this arrow. Open Format and go down to Conditional Formatting, and this is the window that we're going to be using. If you ever lose this window, you can open it back up the same way. Now, I am ready to code. So it should look like this the first time you pull it up. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to tell my computer what color I want that box to turn. I'm going to pick a color from my gingerbread person. I am going to do the dark brown. I want to click on the dark brown real quick just so I can see what brown it is and how to find it. And I'm going to come up to the paint bucket and just look. So it is the darkest brown in the custom colors. Okay, now let me go back to this box here, the B4 that I'm actually coding. I'm glad I looked at the color because now it's easier to find. Back to our coding window. Okay, so I am going to click on this paint bucket and select the color I want, which in this case, I said I wanted to start with a dark brown. There it is. So I've said that's the color I want it to turn. Now I'm going to write the code. Come up to this window or this drop down that says Format Cells If and click. Go down to the very last one that says Custom Formula Is and click on it. Click right here, and this is where we write that code where we tell it the name of the box, B4, and the answer that someone has to type into that box, which for me is 9. I'm going to write equals $B, that's the column, $4, that's the row, equals 9, that's the answer. I have technically successfully coded this box, so if it's empty, it'll be white, and if someone puts the number 9 in it, it will turn brown. What I want to do, though, is also grab some of these from the picture and bring those along for the ride. Here's how to do that. I'm going to come up here to where it says apply to range and see that it already has B4 to B7 selected because that's the box with the 9 in it. And now I'm going to click on this in order to add the rest of the dark brown. This window is always in the way, so I just slide it over. And then before I start clicking, I don't want to lose the 9 that I already clicked, so I'm going to hold down Control with my finger. It's in the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard, or if you're on a Mac, you can hold down Command. So I push that button down, and then with my other hand, I'm going to click on all of the dark browns in my Gingerbread Person. There we go. Notice that the 9 box is still selected. I want that to be included. So I have all of my browns in the picture and the box. Now I'm going to take my finger off of Control or Command, and I need to do 3 things. First, I need to click OK on the data range. Second, I click OK on the code, or Done on the code, and then I come up to the paint bucket and hit Reset. So first, OK on the code. Then, Done on the code over here, come up to the paint bucket and hit Reset. Now I'm done. I want to test it though. Everything's selected right now, so let me just go ahead and click somewhere else. When I delete this by hitting Delete or Backspace, it all disappears. The answer disappears and the brown in the face disappears. And if I put the 9 back in, it should all come back. I answer my question with a 9. You have to click off of it though, in order for it to show up. There it is. So I tested it out and it works. Before I go on to my next one, I'm going to delete it because I want my gingerbread man to be disappearing. I don't want to re-click the same stuff. Now I'm just going to keep going, and there are 10 questions, so we will do 1 color for each question. I'm going to code 5 of these, and then I'll put it in super speed, and I want to show you too, when you do words, it's a little bit different, so stay tuned for that. Next, I'm going to do the light pink, and I want to look at this really quick and make sure I understand what color it is. So it's second from the right there, because there's 2 pinks. And I can see that this highlight on his arm is the same as the highlight in the cheeks. So I clicked on that pink because I was looking at it, but I'm not going to code that box. I'm always going to code the answer box. So I'm going to click back on the box that I want to code, which is this one. Now I'll come over here to Conditional Format Rules and just click Add Another Rule. First step is to pick the color that I want that box to turn, which is that lighter pink. Now I'm going to write my code, and remember I need to know the name of that box, so see if you can find what that box would be called. I start with equals, $, and then I put the column, which is B, $, row. In this case, this one is 8. Equals, and then write whatever your answer is. Mine is 5. The last step is to apply to range, which means I'm going to click on the other pinks to add them to the code. Come up here and click on this, slide the window over, hold down Control or Command with a finger, and click on the light pinks that you want to add to this code. If it's hard to tell the difference between the light pink and the dark pink, that's okay. It's just shading, so it won't look that different if you make a mistake. Take your finger off Control or Command, pull this window up. Now we're doing our 3 steps. We hit OK on this window, Done on the code, come up to the paint bucket, and hit Reset. Now we can test it. Click off of it, click on it, hit delete or backspace. There we go. Now we can test them both. You have to click off of it before it'll come in. There we go. So we keep going in the same way, but you see how this one has Albany as the answer? It's not a number, it's a word. And the only difference is that you need to put it in quotation marks in the code. And I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to do the light green next, and I want to click and just figure out where that green is located. So it's the third one in on the custom. Now let me go back to the box I'm actually coding, which is Albany. We're always coding the answer boxes. Don't code these boxes here. Code these ones. Okay, click on Add Another Rule. Come down and choose the color that you want it to turn. Now we'll write our code here. Come all the way down to Custom Formula Is. I'm going to write it the way we're used to, and then I'll show you how to change it. Equals $ column, which is B, $ row, which is 12, equals answer, which is Albany. Notice that it is not green anymore, that Albany box over there. It's because the code is incorrect. Since Albany is a word, I have to put quotation marks around it. That's it. You do not have to do that with a number, just with words. Now I'm ready to apply it to my range. I'll click up here, move the window over, hold down Control, select, take your finger off Control, hit OK, done, paint bucket, reset, click off of it, test it. It doesn't matter in the code if you capitalized Albany or not. It's a proper noun, so I should capitalize it, but it does not impact the coding. For our Broncos, I'm going to do this red. Let me find the red. Second one in custom, not too bad. Click on the box you're actually coding and come up to Add Another Rule. Find the color that you want. Now we write our code. Equals $B, this one is 16, equals Broncos. I need to put it in quotation marks because it is a word. And see, I didn't capitalize the B in Broncos, but the code still works. Now I apply it to the range. It's just 1 pixel. Hold down Control. And I can see that the answer box is still selected. That's good. I want that Broncos box to be included in the code, and it's just nice to check that I have everything selected. Now I do my 3 steps. Hit OK, done, and reset. Before I do these next 5 at super speed, I am going to do this box here because it's a little harder to name. I want you to look and see if you can figure out what column it's in, because these are all in B, but this one's way over here. This one is technically all these columns here, but we would call it AA. And then what row is it in? 36. So I'm going to code this one right now. I'm going to do this light brown, the lightest brown. Let me look and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the 6th one in. Okay, I'm going to click on the box I actually want to code, which is this one. Come up and click Add Another Rule. Paint bucket, and I'm going to find that color that I was just looking at. Now I'll write my code. So you can write this one down if you're worried about remembering this box. It is equals $AA, $36, equals, and then put whatever your answer is minus 10. If you are selecting one that's next to another one, you can click and drag to select more than one at once. If you click on a pixel that you don't mean to click on, like this, just click on it again and it will take it off. Okay, now I do my 3 steps. Okay, done, reset. Great, I'm going to do the rest of these a little faster and then we'll check in at the end and see how it looks. Okay, now our gingerbread person is all coded, and as I click through these, you can see on the right-hand side that the code pops up for each answer box, and I can see what I coded and what color I chose for each. If you need more help, there's a troubleshooting video here that you can click on. It's the second one. It'll show you if you made any of the common mistakes. I'm going to close out this window by clicking the X, and now let's test out our gingerbread man. There we go. He is all finished. I love it. One thing I want to tell you before you give this to somebody else to work on, you obviously want to delete the answers, but you also need to make a copy of it and give them the copy rather than the original. Since this one has been filled in so many times, it remembers it. And if you give this to someone like this, it will show them a picture of the gingerbread man real quick and then delete it, and it ruins the surprise. So this is your copy. You want to make a copy for whoever you're giving it to and give them the copy. I hope this was fun for you. Click in the description if you want to get this specific gingerbread man, and don't forget to watch this video if you want more help.